Hello. I I was thinking about the Tower of Babel this evening, and I thought, they all spoke one language, and then all of a sudden, nobody spoke the same language anymore. I mean, their languages got confused, and I thought, what about that Tower of Babel? Is what I was saying. What about that Tower of Babel? So, I looked about the Tower of Babel, and we're going to look into it too, you all. Hello, Pragmatic Patriot. Hello, Apple Brooks. Thank you for joining me. I am no expert on any of this at all. I'm not. I'm just going to tell you all right now, I'm not an expert at all. Marie, Talina, Linda, hello. I'm not. But I've always heard the story from the Bible about the Tower of Babel, and the way I remember it is the people were building a tower to reach heaven, and then God didn't like it, so he confused all of the languages. That's the story I've heard. But as we go over to it, and I do want to go over to it, can you all see me and can you hear me? This is a little difficult subject. It is. And again, I'm not an expert. I'm just learning just like you, unless you know all about it. Okay, I don't. I really don't. So you know who that looks like. That looks like the Anunnaki god. It really does look like an Anunnaki. Right here, Anunnaki. That's what this looks like, the Anunnaki. And I'm wondering, they say that's Marduk, the god Marduk. That's what they say, and that's it. That's the temple, the Tower of Babel. They say the Tower of Babel was built to honor Marduk. That's what they said, and I thought, I didn't know that. But actually, there's so much more to it, you all. Thank you for joining me. Can you hear me? That's great. You can hear me. That's wonderful, and that's marvelous. Hello, Mystic Rose. Thank you all for joining. I want to come over here. So I did a search. We're going to come to the screen. We're going to get right down to it, you all. Yes, we are. So I've done a search. I like to go back like to 1971 or something like that, you all, is what I like to do. So as we can see, they have the Tower of Babel as being in Iraq. That's what they have it as, you all. And we're going to look at this. There's this video from Britannia, Britannia.com, and they've got this little video on here. I want to listen to this if you all haven't heard it, because I haven't really heard it. It'd do us some good to see the video that they have included in their description about the Tower of Babel.
It was aerial photography, however, that provided the first real clues as to the location of the tower. The photographs show the tower's square-shaped outline in the center of the city. Today, nothing remains but a water to Babylon's own god, Marduk. But even he was powerless to save this once mighty city.
Okay, that's a little video that they had right here on Britannia, you all, with the Tower of Babel. See, it's not a mythological tower. It's a real tower. Let's read this, you all. If you're just tuning in, I want to read you this because this has been on my mind this evening, and the Tower of Babel just got on my mind. So I want to speak about it just a tad bit. The Tower of Babel was built in the land of Shinar, Babylonia, sometime after the deluge. And I guess they're talking about the flood of the earth, you all. Is that what they're talking about, the Great Flood? That's when the Tower of Babel was built. And the story of its construction is given in Genesis and appears to be an attempt to explain the existence of diverse human languages. So they say it appears to be an attempt to explain the existence of diverse languages. Well, that's really interesting. And the reason I was thinking about that. So if they said that they mixed up all the languages because people were able to speak all one language, everyone was speaking one language. And then all of a sudden, the languages are mixed up. And I'm thinking, why did you mix up the languages? I know the story, how they wanted to build the tower to heaven. They wanted to reach up to heaven. Okay, according to Genesis, the Babylonians wanted to make a name for themselves by building a mighty city and a tower with its tops in the heavens. So God disrupted the work by confusing the language of the workers that they could no longer understand one another. And the city was never completed, and the people were dispersed over the face of the earth. So here's Babylon. That's another artist drawing of Babylon. So according to that, then that's like the cradle of civilization right there. If the people were dispersed all over the earth, if they were all speaking one language right there in that very spot, then everybody went their own separate way all across the world, you all. That's what it says. That's very interesting. It really is interesting. And, you know, if you don't find this interesting, you don't have to watch it. So look, they call it a myth. The myth may have been inspired by the Babylonian tower temple north of the Marduk temple, which in Babylonian was called Babalu, the gate of God. Okay, the gate of God. So they said Baal. Therefore, its name was called Babel, because the Lord confused the languages. But I read in one of these that they built that temple in dedication to dedicated to Marduk. Marduk. And we can see right here, if we're over here, are we on this page, you all? I just want to look at this. Where did this open up at, you all? Let's look at this. So Marduk, he rose from an obscure deity in the 3rd millennium BCE to become one of the most important gods and the head of the Mesopotamian pantheon in the 1st millennium. He was the patron god of the city Babylon, the patron god of the city Babylon, where his temple tower, the ziggurat, the Etmenaki, the temple that is, the foundation of the heavens and earth, served as the model for the famous Tower of Babel. So it says in the 1st millennium, he was often referred to as Baal, the Akkadian word for Lord. See, I didn't know that. I've heard of Baal, the god Baal, in the Bible, but I didn't hear the word Marduk. And there was something interesting about Marduk, that it's rarely ever mentioned, but I think maybe one time in the Bible or something, you all. So look at this screen right here. And thank you for your comments. Good evening, you all. So this is supposed to be Marduk, but he looks like an Anunnaki. He really does. He looks like the Anunnaki. So was Marduk an Anunnaki? They call him, well, let's look at this. Marduk is an important entity of ancient Mesopotamia, particularly known as the patron deity Babylon and the ruler of the Anunnaki gods, which are even older than the Egyptian gods. You all, I did not know that. Did you all know that? I didn't know that at all. Boom. Didn't know it at all, you all. This is really interesting. So his role was the god of vegetation, all forms of judgment, and pretty much all things magic. Marduk was the son of the Sumerian deities Enki and Damikia. Damikina. I did not know that. You all, I did not know that. I didn't know that. I did not know that. That's Marduk. And he is the son of the Sumerian deities Enki and Damikia. Wow. That's really interesting. So look at this. I hope this is all right. So at the beginning of time, Apsu, the god of order, was embraced with his wife Tiamat. Tiamat? You all, isn't Tiamat the planet that got destroyed? Or something like that? You all, where's these names coming from? This is so wild. It is really wild, you all. You never know what you're going to find. You really don't know. Yes. So look at this. So let me see. Look up the guardian of the international peace and security. It is the beast in Revelation. Yeah, somebody shared that. So Apsu. So listen, Tiamat, the god or goddess, the goddess of chaos. You all, that's really interesting. Oh, Parawaxi, yes. So their masculine and feminine energies in balance created the primordial genesis of the elder gods. But the gods became unruly and willful, causing much unrest in existence. And, you all, this is interesting. If you haven't heard about this story, I haven't. The pantheon's rage, lust, love, and desires that inhabit humans too were fully present. All the passions and sentiment of life and free will offended their father. So their father was Apsu. Apsu, I guess. The ruler of the gods, maybe. Yeah. Apsu decided the extermination of the gods was the only portion to bring back peace to creation, to which Tiamat protested. However, she would not stand in the way of her husband's plan. Oh, look! Look at that, you all. They are portraying Apsu as a lion and Tiamat as something else, you all. Yes. So wonder why they called him. And you know, there's so many stories about a Lion King. You got the Lion King. You got the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And you've got this lion who's in bed knobs and broomsticks, and he's the ruler of this land. You got the lion of the tribe of Judah. This is strange. It really is strange. Yeah, Tiamat, the dragon, and the great worm. So look at this. So their ways are truly loathsome to me, and by day I find no relief, no repose by night. I will destroy, I will wreck their ways, that quiet may be restored. Let us have rest. Apsu to his wife Tiamat. So I don't think Apsu made the people that way. I really don't. These other gods, these lesser gods, weren't it? You all, let me look at this. This declaration of imminent doom was heralded to the Anunnaki, and they were stunned and speechless by the proclamation. Yet the god Enki would not lose hope and saw through Apsu's plans. The god was resourceful, wise, and highly accomplished among the pantheon. He set up an intricate plan to counter their creator's wrath, then unleash a powerful spell calling Apsu to fall asleep. Powerless and defeated, the primogenitor god was slain by Enki. Oh my gosh, you all. Did you hear that? He slayed his own dad. That's what it sounds like. I've never heard this story, you all. Oh my goodness. So when Tiamat heard of her husband's death, she was driven into a black rage, and the dragon-like mother, of all things, vowed retribution of Apsu. You all. She sounds really upset. Tiamat sounds very upset because somebody went and killed her husband and she wants retribution. Oh my goodness, you all. I never heard this story before. This is interesting. It really is interesting if you think about it. Yes. So, she wanted retribution for the death of Apsu. Her children had destroyed the very avatar of structure and order itself. And she, being chaos, brought strife to the elder gods. The elder gods would mean the older gods, right? So Tiamat would finish her husband's work by bringing extinction to their rowdy children. So Tiamat created an army of demonic monsters and placed Kingu, the most horrific and powerful of the darkness, to lead them, you all. Oh my gosh. She created these monsters, you all. That sounds scary. That sounds really scary, but I hope it's all make-believe. I really do, but I'm sure there's some type of truth in this. I really am. So, look at this. The gods grew fearful. The end of their existence was growing near once more, and they were indeed the most powerful esoteric entities in creation. But Tiamat was chaos itself, and one of the beings that formed the very fabric of the universe. So defeat seemed inevitable. So I guess this is that monster that she created, you all. That is really a powerful looking monster and a very scary monster. So look at that. One of the Anunnaki, after another, attempted to confront Tiamat, and one god after another fled before her might. Even Enki, the slayer of Apsu, could not contain the army of chaos. He failed in his attempt to halt the demonic army of monsters and gods, and he grew afraid that no one would be able to stop Tiamat's vengeful rampage, you all. Wow. But though all seemed lost, hope had not faded. In the chamber of fate, in the abode of destinies, a god was engendered, most able and wisest of gods. Marduk, the son of Enki, had awoken, you all. Well, that's how he came to be. Wow, you all, are you getting all of this? Have you heard this before? I have not heard of it at all. I haven't heard of it. Wow. Oh my gosh. So now I just want to say this may not be for everybody, and you may not agree with what I'm sharing, but I was thinking about the Tower of Babel because there's so much going on in this world, and we do have spirits, entities, powers from other realms and dimensions coming into this dimension. So look at this. Alluring was his figure, sparkling the lift of his eyes, lordly was his gait, commanding from old. When Enki saw him, the father who begot him, he exulted and glowed his heart with gladness. He was rendered perfect and double endowed, exquisite were his members beyond comprehension. Greatly was exalted above all others. He had 4 eyes and 4 ears. Oh my goodness, 4 eyes and 4 ears. And when his lips moved, fire blazed forth, and none could match his magical words. Oh my goodness. Isn't, I think there's something in the Bible when, in the book of Revelation with eyes, with 4 eyes and stuff on their wings and these great big, something like that, is what I'm talking about. So his perceptions were heightened above the other gods to see all things, and he was exceedingly tall with a might unmatched by the rest of the pantheon. Wow. At the very spark of his birth, the gods knew something new. Something grand was happening, perhaps even equal in power to the deceased Apsu as well as the mother Tiamat. Where did this story come from is what I'm wondering, you all. Where did it come from? That's what I'm wondering. Marduk was born to lead the gods. So, the council of elder gods tested Marduk's power and magical prowess, then elected him to be their ruler as long as he could stop encroaching chaos seeking to destroy them. And from that point on, the Anunnaki pantheon would follow Marduk and only Marduk. He was able to be declarer of destiny and everlasting king of pantheon's hierarchy, but the gods were happy to give up their power and gravitas to avoid extinction, you all. So, oh my gosh, you all want to hear the rest of this? Because I want to read the rest of this, because this is really an interesting story that I have never heard. And perhaps maybe it might shed some light on what's happening in this world, in other worlds. It really might. So, Tiamat and the army of chaos set forth to bring down the gods relentlessly, but she had never faced a god such as Marduk. He would set out to vanquish Mother Chaos and save all their lives. He readied his weapons, the 4 winds and the 7 winds of destruction, then rode his chariots of clouds to face chaos with the weapons of the storm. Oh, wow, you all. He riding on the clouds? He is riding chariots on the clouds. So he entangled Tiamat in a magical net, then summoned the evil wind to penetrate her body, inflating her in excruciating pain, and as Tiamat writhed in agony from Marduk's assault, he slew her with an arrow to her heart. Marduk captured the army of chaos, including their overlord Kingu. At last, the army of chaos had been quelled. Wow, you all, this sounds like this is a big battle. This is a battle for the world, for the world of the gods or something. Oh my gosh, this is going to get bad. This is going to get gory, you all. Then Marduk smashed. Oh my gosh, you all. Oh my goodness. He smashed her head with a club until her demise was assured. Oh my gosh, and he cut her body in half. That is so horrific, you all. I cannot believe I'm reading this. I cannot believe this. Oh my goodness. I didn't know they talk like that. He used half of chaos to create the earth, and the other half was used to create the sky. Oh, wow. Oh my goodness. And bars were put in place to keep chaotic waters from escaping the planet. He then created humans out of the blood of the demonic Kingu, who led the army of chaos for Tiamat. Well, I haven't heard this before, you all. This is very interesting. It's very interesting to read. It's full of drama, very suspenseful. Oh my goodness. So, humankind was to inhabit the world and to serve the gods. The Anunnaki were overjoyed at Marduk's victory and were given the dwelling places in his new creation. He established roles for the gods according to the celestial luminaries, fixing their astral likeness as the stars of zodiac, and established the days and seasons of the year to organize this new plane of existence. So you all, that's something about the stars. From this point of view, he put the celestial luminaries, fixing their astral likeness as the stars of the zodiac, and established the days and seasons of the year to organize this new plane of existence. Now, you know those stars look more than just a big old rock. They literally do look living. They look living. So look at this. And to honor the god, the city of Babylon was given Genesis, where the young race of humanity shall revere the divine, and in victory Marduk sat upon his throne. Well, who is that? That's that Kingu. Kingu's blood was used to create humanity. He don't look too nice, you all. He don't look too pretty at all. He looks mighty terrifying to me, is what he looks like. So he's supposed to be no more. Oh, that's it. That's it, you all. So this is on cryptchronicles.com. You all, that was a very interesting story. It really was. So this is about the god Marduk. Okay. So what happened in that Tower of Babel, they say that they built this tower, and there was a temple that was next to it that they dedicated to Marduk, and Apsu didn't like it, the king of the gods, so he dispersed the people. He confused their language, is what it said. He confused their language, and he dispersed them over the face of the earth. And then I guess he wanted to get rid of them again, or something like that. So that's another bit. There's more mystery added to that, you all. There really is a lot more mystery added to that. That is really interesting. So let's look at this, you all. So it says, divine genealogy of the Ansyncretisms. I gotta shrink that down. That's so big. Marduk was already synthesized with the gods Ashlia, Sumerfit, and the truth, the patron deity of something, you all. So, old Babylonian and all of that, you all. That's so interesting. It really is. What else do I got pulled up here? So that's supposed to be Marduk too. So it looks like the Anunnaki. So Marduk, the chief deity of the gods in Babylon and the national god of Babylonia, he was eventually simply called Baal or Lord, you all. So this is confusing. It's kind of strange. It says originally he seems to have been a god of thunderstorms, and a poem known as Enuma Elish, dating from the reign of Nebuchadnezzar, relates Marduk's rise to such preeminence that he was the god of 50 names, and each one of a deity or of a divine attribute. And after conquering the monster of primeval chaos, Tiamat, he became the Lord of gods of heaven and earth. I never knew about Tiamat, that she was the god of chaos. I didn't know that. All of the nature, including humanity, owed its existence to him, and the destiny of the kingdoms and subjects of his hands. Wow. Marduk's star was Jupiter, and sacred animals were horses, dogs, and the so-called dragon with a forked tongue. Wow. And an oldest monument of Marduk is represented holding a triangular spade or a hoe, interpreted as an emblem of fertility and vegetation. Typically, his tunic is adorned with stars. In his hand is a scepter, and he carries a bow, a spear, a net, or thunderbolt. So that's, we just learned about Marduk, you all. Marduk, the god, the Anunnaki. That's what it sounds like to me, the Anunnaki god. And I think that was pretty interesting. Oopsie. Whoa, you all. Yeah. So, I refreshed that screen, you all. Was that not interesting to hear that? Never heard that story before. I heard maybe 1% of that. Didn't know all the rest. I heard of Tiamat. I think Tiamat was a planet or something. I didn't know she was the god of chaos, and I didn't hear that story where Enki had a son and he cut her body in half and made the waters and the heavens, and then humanity and stuff. There's so much out there. There's so many writings and stuff, and we just hear bits and pieces, you all. We hear what we're told. Okay, we do. Yeah. Oh, you're so welcome. You are so very welcome, and Chaz, you all. So I am going to go, and this has been interesting. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, you all, because it's neat to know what's other things are out there. That way, if you ever hear somebody talking about subjects such as that, then you'll know a little bit about it. You can say, well, I did hear something about that. You won't be caught off guard. You will not. And you know that there are a lot of, there's Sumerian tablets. There's all kinds of, there's all kinds of stuff about the Anunnaki. The Anunnaki all over the place, you all. See, if we go here, there's all kinds of things written about the Anunnaki. So they did exist. They existed. But then you got this reptilian. Where did these reptilians? Because he don't look like a reptilian. See, he doesn't look like a reptilian, but this reptilian looks like a reptilian, you all. So is that reptilian an Anunnaki? Or is he an Anunnaki? That's what you got to ask yourself. Because some of them aren't. Some of them aren't. Look at that. A large Sumerian, Anunnaki, ancient alien, embossed copper. These look like dragons or something. There's a history out there. That's what I'd like to say. There is a history. So look at that. I never heard of this. 14 tablets of Enki. Boom. All right, you all. Well, Gina's going to go, and I want to thank you all for coming on here. This has been very interesting. It has. Yeah, it's been real interesting. Thank you, moderators, for coming on here. And I hope you all had a good chat. I didn't look at the comments. I was too wrapped up in reading that. I like reading things like that at times. I do. Yeah, Dirty Dozen. I wouldn't think the reptilians are the Anunnaki. I think the reptilians are bad. Bad. Yeah. You're also very welcome. Thank you for taking time out to come on here, you all. Gina, will you be online later again? I don't know. Bang, bang, Maka bang. Look at all those pretty hearts and roses. Isn't that lovely? See, that's wonderful. That is lovely. Yeah. I might, when I get out my laptop. Now I'm on my big computer, you all. This is good. Yeah. So with that being said, let me flip over here. Let me see right here. So with that being said, hello, wherever you are in any part of the world. Hello, from my heart to yours, love you. Have a wonderful rest of your day, you all. And this was interesting to me. I hope you thought or found it somewhat interesting. There's a lot of history out there, a lot of fables, myths, which have truth to them too, you all. It's all right. We got little bitty pieces of the puzzle. Even though they're little bitty, they're still a part of the puzzle. They are. So have a wonderful rest of your day, and thank you all so much. Yeah. Michael Montgomery, aren't you so lovely? I can help you. Let me help him out. Bam! Who beat me to it? Somebody beat Gina to it. Yes, that's right. Don't be coming on here telling me that I butcher something. If you don't like it, you can just zip it. Okay, you can zip it, you all. I said I'm not an expert in this or anything like that. I'm not. But does not mean that I cannot do my best trying to read and learn. There's nothing wrong with it, you all. Nothing at all. Because nobody's perfect and nobody's got all the answers either. Apple Brooks, honey, you are so good. Yes, you are. Yes, that's right. That's great. RB19. Boom. Yeah, I've got a book. I've got the Emerald Tablets of Thoth right here. I think I got it right here, you all. I ordered it a long time ago. I got it. Can you see it? It's like upside down like this. Actually, I will say something about some of these writings in there. Some of the writings in there remind me of the Proverbs and or Ecclesiastics or something like that. There's a lot of poetic stuff in there. I didn't read it all, but what I did read, I could resonate with some of it because it was poetic in nature. Yes. Good night, you all. I got to go. You got to go. And that's all right. It is all right. We've got this, you all. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Love you.